Okay, guys, the position that we're gonna do now is a stack pass that I start using in the no-gi. Of course, in the no-gi you have much less things to hold, so you need to be really tight in order to do the positions. And in the stack pass particularly, it's really hard for you to lift the hip of your opponent and hold him there. So the idea of the grabbing around the waist is that when I get this position, is let's say the guy is really flexible, he can really put his feet on the ground, so it doesn't matter how much you pull him up, right? Because he's still comfortable. So you're gonna deal with the very flexible guys, and this position is really hard because see, there is no space for me to fit my body in between his thigh and his body. So he's really flexible, it's really hard for me to go. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna control the hip bone in the other side, and I'm gonna drop my shoulder to the other side of his hip like this. So when I do just the move that I did, bringing my shoulder to the other side, how his leg turns around and going to the other side. And I start using this on the no-gi, as I said, because I was here, in no-gi you don't have the collar, so I like to use the shoulder, and I was passing here, the guy very flexible, put the legs back there. Then I control around the waist, and just move my shoulder to the same side I'm passing. So I still have a very good control of his hip, because my shoulder pressure is there, so he cannot really move or turn. So I have all the time to my hand, my top hand, whatever I like to work on the attacks or better control. But the hand around the waist gives him all the security to do the pass.
So when I watched that from behind the camera, I thought, why isn't Tomas turning? Like, why doesn't he just turn? And then when I asked you to do it on me, I was like, there's no way I can turn. So can we go through that controlling the hips part and when you shift your shoulder? Because I think it's hard for people to see, but it's really easy to feel.
Yeah, that's a very good question, because it comes from the most common mistake that the people usually do when they try to do this technique. Is just because you don't really, you go around the waist, but you don't really focus on your shoulder on the other side. And what control you in the end of the move is your shoulder pointing the hip down. So if my shoulder is not around your hip, it doesn't really work, because then what you're watching the camera is real. Maybe the guy gonna turn because there is nothing blocking his hip.
Okay.
So it's very important that
You're blocking the hip on both sides.
Yeah, when you go here, let's say I'm passing the guard, you go all the way, right? So I control the hip with my hand, but see, my shoulder is still here, far away from the point that it must be. So I need to go all the way down, so now my shoulder is controlling the hip. When I move back, that's why my weight is, right? So how can you turn now with all my weight on your hip? And then I have time to just grab back and pass.
So you've got your hand on one hip, and then you move your shoulder to the other hip.
It looks like you gotta
Sandwich.
see,
Yeah.
right? So you have the hand here on this edge, and you have the shoulder
Right.
on the other side.
Yeah, and I feel like my hips are in a cage,
Yeah.
they're in a box, they're not moving
Exactly,
anywhere.
that's the idea.